Welcome to the Digital Remodeler Podcast. So glad you've chosen to join us today. And with me is David Owasi. He is the founder of Outreach Genius. David, so glad to have you with me today.
A pleasure, Carl. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, let's get started and tell us a little bit about your background and how you went from software engineering. You launched Outreach Genius, had some franchising experience. So, kind of walk us through that story, if you would.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. I started out knowing that I was extremely interested in technology because I grew up in the dot-com sort of boom era, and I was like, oh, like you can build a big, massive tech company and impact many people. So that was how I got hooked. But also, when I started university, I started studying software engineering. I also wanted real life experience because I know just being in class was gonna be half the battle. So I started my first company, which was a franchise actually of College Pro, which was a home painting business. So, by day I would be taking my classes, and in the evenings I'm knocking on doors, asking homeowners for, their painting needs. And then on the weekends I'm scheduling estimates. And then in the summer I would hire my fellow university students to go do the painting job. It was quite a lot of fun. Did that for 4 or 5 years. Did it really well actually, and I paid my way through university from the proceeds of that. And that is kind of where I started to really identify a lot of the problems that small businesses have, and also businesses that are unique to franchise brands. Everything from just chasing people for, you've given estimates to missing calls because you're on the job, on the ladder, or with the crew, and, missing all of those voicemails and then having to like chase people down. And I was also helped. I once I finished my university career, so I finished that part of the business. I started a marketing agency where I was trying to use all the strategies that I have learned to help other home services businesses and other B2B companies as well generate leads for their business. And that's kind of how the whole idea of using technology and automation to generate top of funnel opportunities for businesses really came about. And it's now evolved from marketing agency to more of a software company now, where we're trying to leverage AI voice agents to replace the role of a receptionist and to even do it better than a human being would. It's been a fun journey so far over the last couple of years.
Good, good. Yeah. So let's unpack some of that, as you were, out in the field and doing your franchise work and your contract work. You had a lot of experiences and you named a few of those pain point things. Um, so how did those experiences really shape the way that you are now approaching building these technology solutions for contractors and franchise brands, the people that you're serving? You named off a few of those pain points, but what did you really find were, maybe some of the guiding principles that have really helped you in figuring out, what's going to be your path forward in your technology development?
A great question, Carl. For me, the first thing to think about is that technology is here to serve us, not just to be cool and nice. It's here to help us do something. And in the context of this conversation, as home as business owners, it's here to help us save more money, put more money in our pockets, help us have our customers have a good experience, and remove inefficiencies in our business. So, the first inefficiency that I noticed was when someone calls your business, especially in the home services space, people are they don't have as much patience. So they go on Google, they have a plumbing issue or painting issue, whatever. They're looking for the first few numbers they can find, and if they call your phone and you're not picking up, they're moving on to the next person, and that is like almost guaranteed business right there, and they're getting lost. So that was like the first low hanging fruit. If someone is calling my business and I can't pick up that call, I'm definitely losing that business. So idea of a technology, an AI agent was, can we have something that will take the call and will answer the questions and will provide them a good experience about what we can offer, and if it makes sense, book them onto the schedule for an estimate. That's the first low hanging fruit. The second hanging fruit was someone who I had given some estimate to. So they've already expressed interest. I've given them an estimate, but now I have to keep chasing them around to say, hey, Bob, are you still good to go for that project? It's still a good time. And sometimes those almost like guaranteed projects just falls down through the cracks because no one is picking up the phone and actually making the call. Now, I know sometimes we will have like a receptionist try to make those calls, but the problem is the receptionist is busy with many other things and they will make the call maybe once, twice if they're really, really good. But people, as you know, people pick up their phones like 10% of the time. So you need somebody who will call in the mornings, in the afternoons, in the evenings, like throughout different times of the day to try and get a hold of this individual so that they can say, yes, let's move forward with the project. And that is where, again, the AI agent kind of comes in. And then, of course, you have other scenarios like when you have actually finished the job and you want to get some sort of quality assurance or get a review or get them to like recommend you on Google. You still need someone chasing them down and saying, how was your experience? What can we do better the next time? And are you willing to give us that Google review, which will generate even more business and becomes like, its own billboard advertisement for you. So some of the things that I noticed as a business owner personally myself was that a lot of things were getting dropped because you just don't have that reliable person who is always going to be cheerful, never tired, never irritated, that's going to constantly make those calls or take those calls and move the business forward. And that is why AI agent just was the most obvious solution to solve that. And that's why we went into that space.
That's good. Our initial call, you and I talked about a couple of those things. So I kind of want to back up and unpack that. One of the things we talked about as marketers is, we deal with this obviously in our agency. You've seen it. We get clients that are paying ridiculous amounts of money to drive leads and then don't answer the stupid phone.
Mhm.
Yeah, might as well just, I think this was the conversation you and I had. Might as well just go to the toilet, open it up, throw your money in there and flush. What's the point of running those ads if you're not even going to handle the phone calls? And so, that was one of the things we were talking about. One of the just common breaking points that we see with contractors. And then just what you said, that lead follow up. Now the leads are coming in, but they're not getting worked, efficiently. So some great things. Now, one of the things you brought up in our original conversation too is that there are some contractors that really what they need is the that peak season help. A roofer that's dealing with storm seasons and things like that. Give us some examples of client you know case use scenarios where that AI becomes really critical in those peak seasons where they just get swamped and really can't keep up with the demand, and how AI can really help, navigate those seasons.
No, great question, Carl. So there are a lot of home services businesses are seasonal businesses, or at least have high surges during different times of the year. So for example, HVAC guys, when it's like extremely hot, prime time, or like in the coldest months of the year, prime time for them. And different times of the year, it's kind of like relatively stable. One of the challenges when I speak to a lot of home services guys is they're kind of sometimes not quite sure how to do their staffing. So you have like a base number of employees, but you know that the bump is going to come up. And then you're like, okay, do I have five more guys? And then once you hire them, do I have to let them go as well? And then you're not quite sure. And then maybe you leave them on payroll for a little bit too long, and that's not eating into your profit margins. Or you subcontract to an answering service, which has its own challenges and costs, and they're not giving a consistent experience, etc., etc. So one of the benefits of having an AI agent is that even if you still want to have your core like base of employees, that is fine. But when those surges during the seasonal sort of up and down comes in, you're able to manage the surge very efficiently without losing the business. For example, one of the clients you're working with, to your example, they're a roofing company out of Texas, and every now and then you have the hailstorm come in and damage roofs, and then they have like so much calls coming in, like they can't even keep up. And in those times, they're either forcing to like scramble to add more bodies or get everybody as possible to just be on the phones, which is not very efficient because they're not trained, they're not very, they're just doing not a very good job, but which is still better than not answering the phone at all. But obviously, having an AI agent that is very flexible such that there's something called concurrency. So AI agents can have as many as 50 or even 100 conversations at the same time. Now, most business will not need as much, but with an AI agent, you have a capacity where if it needs to have and open up more spaces to take on all the calls, over like a 3 or 4, 5, 6 day period is able to do that and then go back to normal. And that way you don't have to worry about hiring more people in anticipation for demand. You don't have to worry about, oh, do I have to let people go now because we're kind of out of peak season. It just makes the business, running the business a lot smoother. But more importantly, for customers, reliability. They know that anytime I call, it doesn't matter what's going on, this business is always going to answer the call, and someone is going to reach out to me to to kind of take care of my needs. And that's kind of one of the powerful ways AI agents can really help with seasonal fluctuations.
Yeah, I think that's so critical, and I love something you brought up too, and that's the point of bandwidth. That you can quickly expand bandwidth using the AI agent, and whereas with humans, yeah, how many people can you afford to man phones, and how many phones do you have available? Truthfully, and so AI agents really allow you to expand that capacity quickly. So let's kind of change gears here a little bit because we're talking technology, we're talking AI, and that might be a little intimidating to somebody listening. And so we want to talk about how we kind of make this stupidly simple. So you've got a really simple implementation model, and as you put it, it's so simple even your grandma could do it. And so walk us through how you've made AI stupidly simple for our listening audience. How you've made this real world applicable for a contractor to use and deploy.
Absolutely. So for anyone who is kind of wondering a little bit, how does the whole technology of AI voice works? You've probably seen some videos on YouTube or on Instagram or somewhere online. So the way the technology works is actually very simple. All it does is when you speak to it, there's a system that will take your voice and turn it into text. And then that text is then run through a large language model like your OpenAI, for example. And then that is where the logic is based on what we call prompts. So prompt is a set of instructions that you give the large language model in the background and say, when somebody says, hello, this is my business and this is how I want you to respond. And if they ask a questions or they give me objections, here's generally how I want you to respond. So you give the LLM, the large language model, a set of instructions called prompts. And then once we go from the voice to the text to the prompts, the prompt then gives a response back, and that response is true text, and that text is then turned back into voice and then back to the person you're speaking to. So all of this happens in milliseconds. Now, the process of creating agents can be very complex or can feel at least very daunting or overwhelming for people who are not as technical. You have to worry about different things like, well, what's the prompt instruction going to look like? Or how am I going to ensure that the AI is talking not too fast? And the response time is not too delayed. But at the same time, if you have older people calling in, you don't want the AI to constantly interrupt them because that is very stressful for them. So there's so many things to think about. And when my team and I were thinking about how do we build a technology that number one works and is actually does the actual job, which is the base thing. The next thing is how to make it super easy and simple so that even my grandma can do it. So the first step of what we did was we built out the whole platform, but we just noticed that a lot of contractors and home services guys, they're just like very busy they're on the move. They just don't have the time or the bandwidth to go to the computer and to build the whole thing for themselves. So what we ended up doing was we created a much more simpler system to bring this technology that is extremely powerful, but bring it to a very familiar method that home services business owners or contractors are very familiar with, which is text messages. So everyone is very familiar with texting, texting your friends. Everyone, we've been doing it for years. So what we've done is now for you to build your AI agent, you can now do it over text. So in the show notes, you will see the link to the website for you to try this out yourself. And it's free to try it, by the way. But all you just have to do is either through SMS or through WhatsApp, you just text hi to this agent that we've built, and the agent will ask a couple of questions. What's your website? What kind of industry are you in? What kind of agent do you want? Do you want it to take inbound calls or to do outbound calls? What's the voice you want the agent to have? Is it a male or a female? And there's just a whole bunch of different questions that will ask you to get a sense of your business, and we script your website as well to do that. And what we've done on the back end is we've built a whole bunch of templates. So what would a conversation with a roofing company typically look like? Or HVAC company, painting company. So all the niches you can think about. And we've also made it flexible where if you're outside of those niches, it's also flexible. And then from there, we really put you in the driver's seat as a home services business owner or the contractor, where you basically will give it all the information, and then you will call it in real time as you're giving it the information. It built out the agent for you. You call it in real time. You talk to it, and you will notice 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 issues. It doesn't matter how many issues you notice. The beautiful thing now is that you can just text your feedback in real time to the agent, and the agent again is smart. You know how AI works. It takes all the feedback, it adjusts itself, and then it constantly improves very, very easy. So you don't have to go to any dashboards, no prompt engineering, like all of that stuff that is complicated. You don't even have to worry about that. Just text message and your agent is live and good to go. And you can do this for free. So, it's a free trial. You play with it for a little bit, and before it goes live, you can interact with it to your satisfaction. So it's the first of its kind in the world right now. It's designed specifically for home services and contractors and those type of business owners who are on the move, and we're very excited about it.
That's good. And so you gave a little overview of kind of how it's trained. How do you ensure that the AI agent actually sounds and acts like part of the contractor's business and not just like some generic robot? Because I know that's a fear of somebody listening. I want it to sound like it's coming from my business and not just this automated, I think everybody's got the fear of the automated, voice answering system. We all hate those. And so how do we make it sound more authentic, more real, more of a part of our business?
Great question, Carl. So the first thing is AI voice has come a long way. So, they used to initially when they got launched, they used to sound very robotic without the inflections and the emotions of a human being. Now, and if you can test this yourself, it does have all of that human elements, and you have different types of voices you can choose. A male voice, a male that sounds British, a male that sounds from southern, US, like different parts of the country. You can custom the voice to how you want it to sound. And more importantly is what it says and how it says it. So you have full control. How do you want people to be welcomed? What do you want it to say? How do you want it to respond to different kind of questions? So with the system that we've built in place, you have full control over setting all of those things. Now, it's not going to be perfect from day one, but the idea is that it's more than good enough to give someone a really, really good experience. And then when you start having people interact with it, you're going to see some feedback people are going to give to it. You're going to have old people saying, can it be a little bit slower because it's just too fast for me? And you can reduce the speed of the agent. And then you can, over time, as you work in collaboration with the platform, you start to find that sweet spot of the speed, of the language, of the exact things you should say. And from there, it's just, scaling it from there. So you do have full control. The technology is improving by the day. So a lot of the things that potentially maybe you can't do right now, which there's not a lot, in the next 2 or 3 months, you can now do them. But we'll put that control in the hands of the users.
That's exciting. So, a lot of contractors, we talked about this earlier, they're spending money on ads. They don't answer their phone. They're leaking leads because of poor communication systems. And so this is one of the first things, we brought up as a usage case for AI as communication systems is these inbound calls. Let's kind of talk through what that looks like. So how does that work? I'm out here running ads for my company. Call comes in. How does the AI agent handle that call? What's a typical flow look like?
Great question, Carl. So there are a couple of ways to integrate the AI, your lead flow into this AI system. The first one is just a direct phone call. So someone just calls a phone number. So there is a setting on your phone, cell phone, or your office phone called call forwarding. So you can forward calls to a specific number. Now, when you build an agent with us, we will, part of the setting is to tell us your location, and then we will find like your area codes or local codes, and then we'll assign a phone number to you, a local area phone number to you. So what you do then is you just forward calls from your own phone system to this phone number. And that's how the AI agent is connected. And you can even set different rules, whether it's on your phone or your office system, where you can say only answer calls between this time. So like from 5 p.m. to like, I don't know, 8 a.m. the next month, because I have my actual guys who want to take phone calls during the day, which is totally fine too. Or you can say anytime the phone rings more than 2 times and no one has picked up, then forward the calls to this AI agent. So you can set up all sorts of rules based on your comfort level. So that's like scenario one. Scenario two is more likely when you're running ads. In that case, you're asking people to fill out a form of some sort. So depending on the system you're using, whether it's a Facebook ad form or maybe they're going to your actual website and they're filling out forms there, there's something called webhooks. It's like a kind of a system for different websites and platforms to talk to each other. And if you're familiar with things like Zapier or Make, maybe some of you are familiar with that. All you just have to do is connect your lead form on your website or on Facebook through Zapier to our system. And anytime someone fills out that form, it just kind of pipes through to our system. And depending on the rules you set, the AI will call them instantly and say, hey, John, I see that you filled out our form on our website or on Facebook. We got it. I'm here to kind of take things to the next level for you. And then it kind of goes into like the script that you set for it. And then from there are two options. For some of our clients and users, they want the AI to do everything for them. So in that case, you can connect your calendar system into our AI, where the AI will have access to your Google or Outlook calendar and will see all the white spaces for your availability. You can also do like a round robin, similar to like your Calendly. Think of like a Calendly where you can do a round robin, or you can do like just, only this one person's, I want to book appointments in their calendar and their schedule. And the AI will see all the available time slots and will actually offer those time slots to the user or to the person calling or the person that is trying to book an appointment with. And then based on the back and forth, it would schedule the appointment directly into the calendar. For some other kind of users, they don't want the AI to have that much control, which is fine. In that case, it does more of takes a message. It will say something like, okay, this is your needs. We can help you based on the services that we offer. I will forward this right away to one of our reps, and the reps will reach out to you to book an estimate. We see this more for like plumbing companies, for example, where they don't want to book everybody. They want to
Hmm.
prioritize based on emergency levels. So, and they will have like an on-call technician. So taking message action makes more sense in this context where the AI will kind of assign priority level, and the technician will either tailor this for like, I'll call you the next business day, or I gotta come out like tonight and help you out kind of scenario. So depending on where you are, the AI is very flexible to adjust to the needs.
Excellent. Now I'm going to ask you to look into your crystal ball a little bit here. Looking into the future, um, what do you kind of see the trend with this AI automation in the trades? Do you feel like fully staffed call centers are going to kind of fall by the wayside for small to medium sized contractors, and AI really is going to be the go-to solution in the days ahead?
Yes, I think it's not one or the other. I think it's going to be a collaboration of AI and human beings working together to be more efficient and more productive. So, for example, the scenario we mentioned where during the seasonal surge, you have the AI kind of stepping in to manage that huge demand, but also you have the AI actually helping your frontline receptionists to be way more productive at their jobs. So, for example, the AI will do the sort of filtering through the first list that comes in and filter out the people that have like simple questions or very obvious answers. And now you're having your receptionist deal with the more complicated, scenarios or the more difficult questions or kind of clients or customers. So that way it frees them up to actually go a little bit more in depth with customers that require a little bit more attention. Also, you can have the AI deployed to generate revenue for you, right? So it's going to go to customers from last year that you served who could, who could do the same jobs this year and trying to revive them. So I don't see an either or scenario where it's either you use AI or you use human beings. I see more of a scenario where you're saying, okay, I have this one receptionist. How can I get them to do 1,000 more than what they were doing before? Then I have a series of AI agents helping them with different things, including calling. And your one person now can do way more than what they were doing before, and more importantly, doing higher impact task that is more tied to revenue, and less kind of AI do more of the grunt work. So that's going to be the trend more and more. AI and machine working together to generate more value for the business and getting more done.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, kind of talking a little more about some other things you're working on. When we talked originally, you're also working with AI video creation tools using Google's VO3. How could remodelers and contractors use this to generate viral content and boost their impressions on social media? Kind of a different piece of your business, but I wanted to broach that as well because it's something they may not be aware is out there.
Absolutely. This has been a very, very interesting use case of voice AI. As you guys can tell, I'm a huge, huge fan of voice AI as a technology because it's just one of the most natural way to use AI. And there are sort of two use cases we've seen with using voice to generate demand. Again, like I said at the beginning of this show, AI is here to serve us, and we need to be thinking about how can this make my life easier? How can this generate more opportunities and revenue in my pockets? As everyone will know, social media is a huge way to generate eyeballs to your business and to create demand. In fact, if you don't have any social media presence, you might as well not have a business because people want to look and say what are they all about before then moving to the to commit and get an estimate or kind of do a project. So what we've found is that a lot of home services businesses or contractors are very camera shy, or they're too busy, or they don't have the bandwidth, and they have a lot of knowledge. They have a lot of answers that homeowners wants to have answered. So one of the first ways we're using AI for content is we will have the business owner share insights to frequently asked questions like, what does it cost to like redo my basement? Or what should I be thinking about when I'm selecting contractors? What's indicator of a bad contractor, for example? You know the answers as a contractor yourself, but you probably don't feel comfortable getting on camera, shooting the video, doing all the editing. Now, what we can do is we can have download all that information from you and get it on paper, and we can then use a tool called 11 Labs to actually clone your voice. So you will kind of talk to it randomly for like 30 minutes to an hour, and now it understands how your voice sounds, everything about your voice. And then what we then do is all the content and all the knowledge that you have, we can now bring them to life in your own voice by just typing it into these 11 lab tools that already understands your voice, and it can just generate hours and hours and hours of content in your own voice with your own knowledge. And then what we then do is we then combine that with other tools like VO3 that can just create videos or what we call B-rolls that will kind of support the video. Or some of our other clients will do is when they're in their jobs, like when they're doing their work, they will just like take videos of them doing their stuff. Like they won't be talking to the video, but it was just like us doing roofing, us doing painting, etc. And then we overlay the voice that has been cloned over these videos showing you guys actually doing the real work. And now you've got like very viral worthy videos. And we've seen like some of our clients do millions of views, have just gone viral. One of the most viral video was, here's how much it costs to build a basement from scratch. And it got like millions of views because everyone wants to know how much does it cost to build a basement from scratch, because now they have that context. So that's kind of like some of the use cases of bringing your knowledge and turning that into content to create trust in the marketplace and to create awareness in the marketplace. It's been pretty incredible. And the last thing I'll make on there is VO3 is Google VO3. They've generated a new video model that allows you to create extremely realistic videos just from prompting. So the same idea would be instead of doing a B-roll of you taking videos of your job site, now all you just have to do is text some prompt them saying, I want you to pretend as if you're a roofer on a roof and you're doing XYZ things, and it will just create that scenario for you. And you can then combine that with your own clone voice, and now you have a very realistic video. So there are different ways you can slice and dice it, but voice is here to bring your ideas to life, get you in front of your customers more, and then drive a lot of that demand to your business. And then you have the AI voice agent in the background to capture all of the demand that comes from the top of funnel videos that were created. It's pretty incredible stuff.
So David's got your full AI ecosystem laid out for you. So
Exactly.
that's awesome. So David, you're not just a service provider, you're actually looking to be a strategic partner. How do you see Outreach Genius fitting into a contractor's long-term growth stack?
Yeah, so we really want to partner with, so we are focused, as you might have heard me say a lot about home services, contractors, like that's the world I live in and kind of understand. And that is the kind of audience we want to serve. So for us, we see Outreach Genius as a tool to empower contractors and put the initiative in their own hands to drive this technology in a way that fits them. So what we're doing is, for example, we're partnering with individuals like Carl, yourself, that work with a lot of the home services, pros, whether it's as a marketing agency or kind of doing some consulting for them. And our goal is to make our tool available for you to be able to build out, whatever scenario you want for your business. And with the SMS, onboarding that we've kind of built in, you don't need anyone with technical expertise to leverage this. You can just do it yourself. So from a strategic point of view, we're partnering with a lot of agencies where we're using our solutions to make it easy for them to serve their clients and to be sort of mutually beneficial to both parties, meaning the market agency is generating the demand, but then they're not worried about all that demand falling through the cracks because now you have our agents that will take the demand and actually turn them into estimates and appointments. So we've been very excited to partner with agencies. We also partner with a lot of franchise brands. So franchisors, we would work with them at a franchisor level, and then they will use our solution to distribute across all their franchise network. And it's just very standardized and simple that way. So those are the two partnership angles we've been exploring so far.
Excellent. So where can our listeners go to see a demo, to book a call, or try your onboarding process firsthand? What's the best place to connect?
Absolutely. So I'm very active on social media. So Facebook, LinkedIn is where I'm mostly active on, but you can go to our website at outreachgenius.ai. And from there, you will see the link to the AI SMS or WhatsApp onboarding. And the idea again is not to pressure anybody. It's like for you to actually experience it yourself and to be part of the process of building it out. And it's a free trial, so you can start it out yourself, test out the agent, take it for a spin, call it as many times, talk with as many times, and only when you're satisfied with how it sounds and it feels aligned, then you can then do like a paid engagement to then actually have it to be the front of your business. And that is just the beginning. So that doesn't give you all of the capabilities of the AI. You have to actually still have to go into the platform to be able to have way more things. When I say way more things, for example, if you have multiple locations, you can set it up such that the agents can route the calls to certain people on your team based on the zip code the caller is calling from. There's a lot more complicated things you can do. You can set it up such that the agent is going to be doing live transfers to somebody. So there's a lot more stuff you can do on the platform, but the SMS onboarding is a very, very quick way to just kind of get into it. And if you're curious to hear about my content and what I think about AI, you can go to find me at David Owasi on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'm always creating content almost every day on all the cool things that I'm observing and all the things that can help you grow your business as well.
Excellent. And David, just a final thought from you. If you had one piece of advice for our listeners out there today who are looking to get started with AI today, what's the first step? What's the first thing you'd tell them to do?
Don't see AI as an either or. It's not an either or, it's just one other tool to make your life easier. And if you think about it from that perspective, then you're going to naturally start finding ways to put the AI to work and make it serve you. Also, it's very important to understand that whether you like it or not, this is the direction the world is moving into. And the sort of the recent example will be the age of the dot-com era, right? Where everyone had to be online. And back then, there were people who were like, why do I need to like put my business online? I already have my name in the newspaper, in the local newspaper, or in the different magazines. But everyone knows at this point, if you're not online, you might as well not be in business. So the same thing will be for AI, where if you're not using AI, that might be okay in the next like 2 or 3 months, but all of your competitors will start using AI. They will start being able to do way more, 10x more, 100 times more with their existing staff while you are still scrambling around, which means that you're going to start falling behind. And that is definitely not where you want to be. So AI is here to serve you. Exploit, use tools like the ones that I've just suggested to start playing around with it. It's not going to be like 100% perfect, but it's getting better, better, better by the day. And it's already much useful right now to start generating revenue. We have clients that have
Mhm.
generated hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue using this already, and it's only going to get better. So give it a shot, try it out, and you'll be very surprised by what you see.
Fantastic. David, it's been great having you with us today, and I appreciate you joining us on this episode.
It was a pleasure, Carl. I appreciate the time, and yeah, we'll look forward to getting you to know you guys better.
Fantastic. And to our audience, thanks for tuning in to the Digital Remodeler. We look forward to having you again on our next episode.